Alright y'all, so I'm taking a break from the grinding underneath this door, but when I took the trim off, I noticed a little problem here. So we've got some mold up under here. You can see it's gotten wet here. We've definitely got mold there. We've got a little bit over here. I don't think it goes into this panel very much. I'm hoping it kind of stops right here. But over here, it looks like it stops before we get into this panel, and obviously we have a seam here. So what I'm going to do, oh, and right here on this plenum, we've got some duct work up here, and this plenum is obviously messed up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take out the drywall above this door, and I'm probably going to take some of this plenum off. We'll take the ceiling tiles out up here and just kind of investigate up there and see what's going on the top side. But I'm going to go ahead and get some of this taken apart and see just how bad it is. I don't want to put new trim over mold, so I'm going to try and get that taken care of before we put all this back together. And I'm just kind of tired of grinding on stuff, so we're going to take a break from that and get working on this. Alright y'all, so I found some mold up in here. We've got it right here above the door and here, and then it's also on the bottom of the flooring, subflooring for upstairs. The good news is it's confined, it appears at least to be confined to this one area. So I pulled some of this insulation back and there's none on there, and I pulled some of the insulation back over here and there's none on that either. So I am going to go ahead and take this drywall down. I'm going to take this down and see what's behind there, see if I can figure out where this moisture is coming in. It's entirely possible that it was there from a long time ago, and now that we've got a mini split system down here that's kind of treating this air, hopefully we don't have those issues anymore. But still, I've got to get it taken care of. So obviously I'm not going to replace this subfloor. It's got carpet and stuff above it. But what I am going to do is go and grab some concrobium mold control and spray that up there, and it should kill it. I've used that product several times and it works really well on mold like this. So it'll get up there and just completely dissolve it basically. Alright y'all, so after a little more investigation, I have found that this piece of drywall on the bottom here is actually pretty well covered with mold. So I think my next plan of action here is just to actually remove this whole section right here. And then once I get that down, I'll see if it's gone into the actual wall, drywall. Hopefully not. I would love to not have to replace that, but if I do, I do. But that's kind of where I am right now. I'm going to take that down and just see what we find. Alright y'all, so here's where we've gotten to. I took the entire plenum down over here. I took it down a little bit in the corner, and then I took this front piece of drywall down over here. And the reason I did that, when I got to right here, I was pretty sure that we had reached the end of the mold, but I wanted to be absolutely sure that that was true, and so I took the front piece here down so that I could check it and make sure that everything in there was clean, and it is. So the next thing I'm going to do is make some measurements, figure out what all I need material wise, go pick it up and replace all this stuff. As far as why it happened to begin with, the only thing that I can think of is, as you can see here, we have vapor barrier here, and we have a little bit of insulation there, and we have nothing the rest of the way above, you know, where the main drywall is. So I don't know why we don't have an issue over here. The only thing that I can think is maybe we got vapor barrier here, we got the door right here that we have, you know, potentially vapor coming up through here and getting up in there. I don't know for sure. All I know is it was the worst on this corner right here, and then it just kind of spread from there, and obviously we have some up here on the ceiling or on the floor, subfloor for upstairs. So what my plan is, since I'm not 100% sure what caused it, I am going to go back with some insulation here. So I'm going to do this styrofoam insulation. I'm going to put all up underneath here, and then I'm also going to do a vapor barrier up underneath there as well. So I'm just going to make sure that all of that has protection from moisture and hope that that takes care of it. I don't know for sure if it will or not. Like I said, you know, the rest of the way down here doesn't have the vapor barrier up above it either. So the only thing that I can consider as a potential issue is the fact that we have the door here. I may put some caulking in these joints here and try to seal up as many gaps as I can, either caulking or spray foam or something, and just try to seal up as much as I possibly can from getting, you know, from the door up that way. But that's kind of the plan that I have right now, and I'm going to build it all back out, and I'll see you guys in just a little while. All right, y'all, well, we're about ready to start putting drywall back up. I'll show you what we've done. So I got some foil backed insulation board so that I didn't have to do a vapor barrier. The foil backing, or foil facing rather, acts as a vapor barrier. So you still have to tape up around the edges of it, but other than that, you don't have to do foil, or you don't have to do the plastic. And being as it's up behind all this duct work, I figured it was going to be kind of a pain to get that plastic attached, and so I just went with the foil faced insulation board. So we've got that covered here. I put a piece on top of there as well, just since that was the worst area. I wanted to go ahead and cover up all of the cinder block there. So the next thing I got to do is frame out the plenum box again and get that done. And once we're finished with that, we should be ready to hang drywall. So I'm glad that it didn't take much longer than it did. It took me, I don't know, an hour or two to get everything done that I have done so far. So get everything demolished and get the insulation board put up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing framed out, and we'll see you guys when I'm done with that. All right, so we got the plenum box put up. It's all framed out. One thing I noticed, and I don't know if it was like this before, I guess it had to have been based on where all the wood was. This side is actually higher than that side. So if you look here, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little bit of a slope going that way on that. And I'm just gonna leave it that way. I didn't want to have to redo any of the framing on the wall back there, so I'm just going to leave it that way. I'm not sure why it was done that way to begin with, but there are a lot of things that I don't know why they were done a specific way in this house. So anyway, it's done, it's framed, so I'm going to go ahead and get the new drywall put up, and we'll see you guys when we're done with that. All right, y'all, so we're finally ready to start mudding all this drywall. We got the plenum boxes built, got the drywall put up, and got all the corner bead on. And so now we just got to put mud on it, and it'll be ready for paint. Well, here we are, guys. We've got the first coat of mud on. I apologize for not getting any video of that. I had planned on it, but I had to run and get some more mud because what I had left over from another project has apparently been sitting too long and it had mold all in the bucket, so obviously wasn't going to use that. And when I got home, my wife asked me to try to be done by 7, and it was 6:25. So I got done at 7:15, so not terrible. Obviously, I'm not a professional. A professional would have had this done in about 10 minutes, but I had it done in a little less than an hour, which I'm pretty happy about. So we will let this dry overnight and hopefully get our second and possibly third coat tomorrow. We should only need 3 coats. I would love to only need 2, so we'll try to make that happen, but it's probably going to need 3. And I'm hoping I can get both of those done tomorrow. So that's where we sit right now, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey y'all, so we've gotten a good bit of work done since the last time I saw you. I'm sorry I didn't get any video of it. I've just been down here working and I keep forgetting to set the camera up. So let me show you what we've gotten done. So I've gotten 2 coats of mud on. I just finished putting the second coat on, so we're waiting for that to dry. The first coat took probably 36 hours to dry, which is just ridiculous. But I realized, I think I figured out what the problem was. I had my mini split covered up because obviously I was working right above it and I didn't want stuff falling into the intake on it. And when I got done putting the mud on, I didn't uncover it and turn it back on. So I think the humidity down here was probably just way too high. And there was no air circulation. So last night I came down here, uncovered it, turned it onto the drying mode. It's got a little dehumidifier mode on it, so I turned that on. And then I have another fan down here that I turned on for air circulation, and everything dried up overnight. So that's what I'm doing now. I just got done with this coat and I turned that back on, and I had the fan on, but I turned it off just to record the video so we wouldn't have that noise. But everything has a coat. I went ahead and did all around the top edge because I'm planning on raising this ceiling up a couple inches. I just want as much ceiling height in here as I can possibly get. And as you can see where it is now, we've got a few inches to work with. So I'm going to get it up to where I just have room to slide the ceiling tiles over the track. And then that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. So because I'm moving it up, all of the supports that were on the wall, I had to mud over the drywall there because it had just kind of gotten damaged with nail holes, and also when I was taking it down, it started peeling some of the drywall tape and stuff just because they had been painted up too and all that. So went ahead and went around the whole room with the mud, and I covered almost this whole thing. I covered everything that's going to be seen just to try to make sure it's nice and flat. So that's where we are right now. I don't want to just waste time waiting for this to dry, so I have the floor covered, but I'm going to uncover this over here and go ahead and try to get the grinding finished up around the doorway. I did get a new grinding wheel. So I've got a new diamond cup wheel. This one is actually 5 inches instead of 4.5, so hopefully that should help some speed up the process. It's also a little bit rougher grit. That one is, I think, 30 to 40 grit, and the one that I was using was 50 to 60. So hopefully that one will cut down on the time that it takes me to get that cut down. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the grinding, and hopefully we can get that done today too. Hey y'all, so it's been a couple days since I recorded anything. I've been doing a little bit of work down here. I just kind of wanted to show you where we are. So one of the things that I got done is I finished up getting this area cleaned up around the door. So you can see we got a nice crisp edge all the way around. The way I did that was I just used a diamond disc, not the cup wheel that I was grinding with, but I used a diamond disc on my grinder. And let me see if I can grab that and just show it to you real quick. Got a mess down here, but this is the disc that I used. So it's a diamond masonry bit, so I just used that and cut along the edge, and then to get the corners really well, I just used a mason's chisel, and I cut down and scored it with my oscillating saw. I cut into the corners on each side, and then I just hit the chisel right here and just broke it up. It took a little bit of time, but it worked out just fine. So then the other thing that I've gotten done is I've gotten 2 coats of mud, and then had to touch up a couple things. I've got to go back and take care of some air bubbles that showed up in the mud, so we just got to put just a real thin coat over those and clean those up, and then these walls will be ready for paint. My plan for the paint is I'm going to do mostly white and do an accent wall over here. So these 3 walls, that one behind me, this one over here, and this one are all going to be white. They're going to be white dove. It's a Benjamin Moore color. It's what we have in the rest of the house. So those are going to be white dove. And then on this wall over here, I'm going to do agreeable gray. So I think that'll be a nice contrast. This color down here already, I believe, is agreeable gray, but it might be repose. I can't remember for sure. So you can kind of see the color that it is right now, but I think that adding the white in around it is just going to make this room pop and just brighten it up just a little bit. The other thing I'm going to do is replace these window trims. So as you can see, whoever did it the first time did an absolutely horrendous job. So we've got massive gaps in between the window and the trim, and so I've had to put this tape here to keep drafts out and stuff. I could have put foam in there, but I knew that at some point I was going to wind up replacing the trim and making it fit properly, so I didn't want to put foam in there. So I'm going to do that one. I've got one over here I'm going to do. It's not quite as bad, but it's still pretty rough. So my next steps here are I'm going to go ahead and put the mud on these pinholes, and then I'm going to grab some more some more ceiling track. So I'm going to replace the ceiling, as I said, and I think I'm going to turn the tiles the other way. So I'm just going to grab all new stuff because this is scratched up, beat up, and it's a little bit different size than what I'm going to be using anyway. So I want to make sure it all matches. So I'm going to get some new track and then get that laid out, and we should be getting pretty close after that. All right, we've gotten all of the priming done. So you can see all the walls are primed. Everything looks really good. It's still wet. So what I'm going to do now is let it dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of this ceiling track down. Hey y'all, how's it going? So we've gotten a good bit done here. I finally got the painting done, but I may have to do another coat, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. But I'm started doing the floor, so this is kind of how I'm doing it. So the way I took it up was I just peeled one whole row off at a time, put it back down, and picked it up, put it in a stack. So I'm doing the same thing, putting it back down. So I'm laying it all out, putting each piece together, and then making sure my gaps on each end are decent, roughly equal, and then just clicking it into the row in front of it. So I went ahead and got started. I haven't done a whole lot of recording since I took the lights down, just because there's not a ton of light in here, but I will go ahead and record me getting this floor put back in. I don't have the threshold yet to go here at the door, so I think what I'm going to do is just cut around it and then put the pieces that I need to down in the in that step down there, and just kind of just let that be that. So I may wind up having, like I said, to do another coat of paint. This wall, the accent wall, is fine, but these walls, the paint, I don't know if there was something wrong with the mix or if something was just funky with the walls. I mean, I sanded them before I primed them, and then I primed them, and I didn't do anything else until I was ready to paint. But for some reason, as I was rolling it on, I'd get paint on the wall, and then I'd take the roller back over it to smooth it out, and it was peeling the paint back off the wall. So over here, this is just not a great look. There was some trash in it, so I got stuff there. It doesn't look great on that wall, but I'm just gonna kind of have to wait until it dries completely. It should be almost there, but there's just some thin spots that are kind of hard to see right now, just because there's not much light in here. But I'm gonna wait, like I said, and just see what it does. This plenum box over here actually came out pretty good, but some of this stuff just didn't. So I don't know if you can see in the corner here. It's kind of hard. I'm trying to get the light where you can see it good. So right here, you can kind of tell what I'm talking about. So it just peeled that paint right back off the wall as I was putting it on. So you can just kind of see there's a little bit different shade there. And there's several areas like that in the room. This wall looked really bad while it was still wet, but it might have kind of taken care of itself as it dried, which is kind of what I'm hoping for. So I'm gonna get the floor finished up, and then we'll take a look at everything when the floor is done. I would love for that to be it, and I can put trim up and then put the ceiling up and all that. I'll probably put the ceiling up first just so I can have light in here. But that's kind of the plan for now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up this floor. All right, y'all, so we're finally done with the floor, and we're ready to start putting the ceiling up. So what I've done is I have my laser level mounted up here, where it's gonna, at the height of the bottom of all of the supports. So you can see we got it up a little bit higher than where it was before. So that line represents where it's gonna sit, where the bottom of the supports are gonna be. And before, they were right up against the edge of the trim there. So you can see we've got a little bit more. We got about 2 to 2.5 inches, something like that. So that's good. And that still leaves me plenty of room to get the tiles up and out of the track. I left myself about an inch above, and they're 5/8 inch tiles. So we've got, you know, a little bit of room to spare there. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and put all the track in place, and then we'll start getting these tiles in. Quality ground. Yeah, that's doing a lot. Okay, y'all, so we got almost all of the wall supports done. They look really good. So the one thing that I didn't do is right over here. I was about to do it. I took the laser down and I was about to put that up, and then I realized that I didn't want to do that just yet because I want the laser so that I can level up the main beams here. So I'm going to put these main beams up across here, and I need the level to know exactly where they need to hang. So I'm going to do the back one first so that the laser's not blocked, and then we'll do the front. I've already marked out where I want my supports. So that's where one's going to be. The other one's going to be over there. And I added this block here because I want the mounts for it to be hanging straight down. I want the wire hanging straight down. A lot of times with a drop ceiling, you'll see wire just kind of hung to wherever they could find the closest stud. And what that does is that causes you, when you move tiles, you wind up running into a wire. And so what I'm doing is I'm measuring out exactly where the tile width is and where the track lines are going to be, so that the cables can hang straight down and not interfere whenever I'm trying to move a tile. I can move it whichever direction I want to move it. So that's kind of the plan. These are the little holders for them. So it's a little lag screw that has a little eye hook on it, and then they got the little bit to run them in with. And then I'm just going to use some aluminum wire to hang it up. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and we'll see you guys here in just a few minutes. Okay, y'all, we've got all of the main beams in. So I've got 3 of them. I've got these 2 long ones, and then I've got a little short one right here. One thing that I should have done that I didn't think about doing was I should have made these little brackets, or the holes in the beams, line up with where my hangers are, since that's where my supports are going to go. And the reason that I should have done that is they have these little tabs on them, and they're supposed to lock into those little grooves on there. But unfortunately, I didn't think about doing that, and so now I've got to cut off all the tabs on all of these, and then it lays in this tiny little groove right here, which shouldn't be an issue, but I am going to have to pop rivet a few of these in place and just make sure that these main beams don't move at all. And I made one critical error over here and ran my drill into the side of the wall when it finally punched through the metal. So I'm going to have to touch that up or do something with that. But that's something that you are going to want to think about if you're putting a drop ceiling in. I just measured from the end of the beam and cut it to length, but what I really should have done was figure out where the center line is, or where these brackets are going to go, where these cross beams are going to go, and line everything up that way, so that these could have gone in exactly how they're supposed to. These would have held it in place and made my life and job a lot easier, but unfortunately I just didn't do that. So we can still make it work. It's just going to be a lot more work in installing these pop rivets. I was only going to do a couple of them on the main beams, but now I'm going to have to do a few more. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done and start putting these panels up.